Welcome back to episode 14 of the Couch Experts podcast. My name is Jamari Moore, and I'm here with my co-host Zane Ali, and we are back for a really exciting show. We got a nice show lined up for you today. Zane, how are you feeling today, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm living in a state of FOMO right now and regret because, dude, just the environment that was that game it looked amazing. I'm excited to hear about your experience and kind of everything that you saw. But no, things are good, man. Staying busy, but everything's been great. How about you?
Good, man. I'm still processing everything. Obviously, people know that when we record, and so I'm still coming down from the high I experienced yesterday, or at least on this past Saturday. So it's been crazy, man, just seeing everybody again. I look forward to talking about it. It feels good being on break, Thanksgiving break and being able to travel. Right now, I would be in Philadelphia, getting ready for Thanksgiving with the fam and getting ready for this Bears and Eagles game in Philly as well. Hoping I don't get hit with any batteries or anything crazy like that. But yeah, I look forward to just talking about everything and just the experience. And so figuring out where to start, man. Just quickly, I mean, it was a lot going on during the game. We had senior day, which was awesome. I think it was about 20-ish seniors. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was a lot of
It was a
seniors.
lot.
Um, in two in which I had connections with my time teaching in both Cheyenne and student teaching in Laramie. So that was really awesome to see them and also reminding me how old I'm getting. How
It's humbling, dude. It's
time is
humbling.
flying. So there's that military appreciation day, which was awesome. Sold out crowd, a lot of people, ton of people. And obviously, the retirement, Josh coming back to retire his jersey, which again, I mean, that was one for the books. So for people who didn't get a chance to go, a lot of people were hitting me up and they were like, man, I wish I was able to go. And I've been in a lot of games or as a player and as a fan. And yeah, this one was unmatched for sure. It was unmatched for sure. And
That's
then,
awesome, dude.
and,
Yeah, it
and
looked
then,
great.
and then obviously the one that I'm avoiding, we still took an L today. I will say shout out to James Price, another legendary receiver at the University of Wyoming. He's one of the coaches on the Nevada staff. So I think it was really cool how he was able to
That's right.
be there at the game as well and catch up with some of the guys because he was a big part of it as well. Shout out to JP. He ended up with a victory. I talked to him. He said it was a little weird, but um, just with what that moment represented, but then also being on the opposing side. Um,
Mhm.
so that was pretty interesting. So I guess we can just rip the Band-Aid off if you want, going into our segment recap of the game. So I'm gonna start with you, Zane. Just as a viewer, right? Somebody that's not at the game, and for those of you out there listening who didn't go, maybe you all maybe share a similar experience to Zane. Talk to us about just initial takeaways, man, and just how you felt about the game.
It was another tough offensive outing and a really good defensive outing. I mean, I want to give them a few flowers, which I had to dig down deep for these, but as far as mental errors go, this wasn't one of our worst games. I think I have this in the show sheet a little later on, but I'll bring it up now. We had a short field given to us after a fumble, and we didn't follow it up with an offensive holding call. Like I told you last week, I was going to be fine if we just did that right there and came away with 3 points on a drive. Luckily, they were able to score seven. That was our only points of the game. But overall, man, I mean, just to be honest, unimpressed. 220 total yards of offense, against a bottom rank, not a bottom rank, but a bottom half team in the Mountain West from a defensive perspective. Again, we are the least explosive offense in the Mountain West now. And I want to get your comment on this. This is a quote from Jay Sawvel. He said the energy was there, the intent was there, but what we didn't do was get off to the start we needed to get off to reflect that. I don't know, man, from the TV, right? You were there in person, so this I hope looked a little bit different from the TV, I didn't see any energy on the offensive side of the ball. I always see energy on the defensive side of the ball, but I didn't see that energy that he was talking about. Did you see it a little bit more in person, or can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, man. I felt like there was a ton of energy in the atmosphere just to start the game, right? That
Yeah.
many fans there to give more insight as well. Josh had actually came out pre-game and was walking around. That's why I got a chance to talk to him a lot on the sideline. A couple fans got a chance to get pictures, and I think just him being out really brought that energy before the game. He also talked to the guys the night before.
Mhm.
So I felt like the energy was there in the beginning, but we just weren't able to get anything going, convert, right? So when Jay talks about energy and intent, like the energy was there, but what you start to see was some of the same trends that we got all throughout the year. And it started to die very quickly, right? The game started to become, I don't want to say an afterthought because we all want to win, but we just had this awesome experience, right? Of just having Josh be there and be out, and he's just talking to everybody and talking to all the teammates and signing autographs for fans, and people are just so hyped. And so I felt like it slowly started to die out because we weren't having any success offensively. But what I will say that was crazy, the field goal. I promise you, dude, from somebody that you texted me right after, like, hey, from the TV, it looked like it was good. We're all looking at each other like that looked like that went in just from where I was sitting. So I thought that was pretty bizarre. I don't know if they explained it a little bit more on TV, but that looked like it was in. So I felt like the crowd was still engaged though, at least most of the first half.
Yeah, yeah. No, from the TV, what did they say? You can't challenge a field goal if it goes over. I don't know, man. But then it was in the second half, Nevada had the exact same situation and they gave it to them where it was kind of over and in between. And I don't know. I was
Insane,
frustrated with that.
insane.
But could you tell that there was a certain level of frustration from the offensive side of the ball? Because obviously, normally we're watching it on TV. They're not going to show that, but you can see it more when you're there in person. Did you see a level of frustration from the sidelines with?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so you can definitely see it, guys. Just like their body language, showing frustration. I think in the beginning they had the understanding that hey, it's early in the game. Yes, we weren't able to convert, or hey, we were three and out. But I still felt like based on their body language, they were in it. They didn't have this how should I say it? They didn't have this demeanor as if the game is over, right? Like, which that can happen to some really bad teams if it's early. But I
Mhm.
didn't see it until maybe the end of the second quarter, and then a lot in the second half. I seen it a lot in the second half. The frustration. I didn't see a guy necessarily slam a helmet, but like you can hear and see some choice words. And the fans too. I think that's another thing. I mean, the fans. I forgot. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot how crazy the fans are. The fans were saying some crazy stuff. I'm not gonna repeat it, but they were saying some pretty wild
Dude,
stuff.
you could hear from the TV
Oh my
some choice
god.
things starting to get thrown out because it was a Mountain West broadcast and they don't cover up quite as much. So yeah, you heard a few things slip through where you're like, oh,
Funniest thing I heard the crowd say, it was I think after the field goal ordeal, on my side, the fans started chanting, "The ref beats his wife," and I could not believe. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And I just started to remember how insane it was. But what I can say from just watching, right? If we look at the offense and look at some specific details, right? Caden Anderson, 22 for 39, 157 yards, one touchdown. What I can tell you is that he just wasn't playing decisive. It wasn't like he didn't
mhm,
have time, right? Just looking at it, it's not like he didn't have time to throw the ball. He's going through his reads, and then he's rolling out in the pocket, and then he's waiting a long time to get the ball out. And I think at the end of the day, that's something that is going to have to improve is the decision making, right, and the decisiveness. Some of the top targets: Chris Durr, 6 catches, 34 yards. Fitzgerald, 4 for 53 yards. We're seeing Fitzgerald in person. He's a tall dude. I'm like, we
six
need to,
five.
yeah, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, when I've seen him in person and he had a catch early in the game in the first quarter near the sideline, I saw him get up. I'm like, we need to be lobbing it up to this guy. Like he's way taller than his defenders. I mean,
They did try once. I did remember Caden throwing him a little corner ball there,
yeah,
but then he did overthrow him a little bit. But yeah, no, he's massive, dude. Yeah,
he's tall. Like, yeah,
absolutely.
like when you see the numbers, it's one thing, but to see guys in person, I was like, gosh, shoot, he's big. And then it was cool seeing Evan score his first touchdown as a tight end. That was a really cool moment. where we were really close to that area. Then Sam Scott rushing for 48 yards, 32 receiving. Oh, I mean, just not a lot of production. When you're not getting it on the ground, it's really important to have a quarterback that can kind of be the reason you're winning the game. And so I felt like I don't know if Caden was just afraid to throw an interception or he was afraid to make a mistake, but I felt like the decisiveness just wasn't there. Or if there was guys open, he saw it late. That was another thing. And you just hear guys, you hear people in the crowd just yelling, throw the ball, throw the ball.
Mhm.
And so,
There
yeah,
was
that, I
even
mean,
a play, the
yeah,
announcers were like, Chris Durr's in the back of the end zone waving his arms, and Caden's just taking off running the wrong direction. There was a couple of those where you do wonder if there's like psychologically when you do throw as many picks as he's thrown, it's probably working against him in more than one way. Now, not only does he not want to throw the ball, he's putting too much pressure on himself to just even make the simple reads almost.
yeah. And then when he did throw, I thought a good ball in the middle, that's when a massive collision happened. I wasn't sure if it was Fitzgerald
It was
or
Fitzgerald.
it's Fitzgerald, yeah.
Mhm.
Massive collision.
Yeah, bit of a
And
hospital ball.
it was bad, like, just you the sound of it, I just remember my girl Sally being like, "Ooh, like, that hurt really bad." Like, yeah, that's not good. And so you never wanna see that, right? And, again, the medicine
No.
ball, and I was amazed that he held on, like, it was one of those hits.
Mm.
And so, I mean, again, missed opportunities. We also missed some kicks as well, so I think that's also like, if we make any of our field goals, we win the
It's a
game.
different game.
Yeah, we win
Yeah.
the game if we make any of them.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, that was pretty disappointing, but defensively, you had mentioned there were some highlights. Talk to us a little bit about some of the defensive highlights or just what you were seeing in
Again,
general.
I was gonna say good tackling, good defensive game. Nevada did not put up that many points, and that's all we can ask the defense to do, right? Most of the time at a Division I college football game, you're never gonna put up goose eggs that often. So Braden Johnson, 13 tackles. Evan Eller had 10 tackles. He had 3 tackles for loss, which was a career high. Those are 2 guys right there that have just been the backbone of the defense this year. 2 guys that have just been amazing to watch, and I think they're both seniors, if I'm not mistaken, Evan Eller and Braden Johnson. I could be wrong, but I think they're both on their way out. So it's going to be, I don't know, man. You're looking at a couple of different positions where you're like, well, hopefully we've got some depth behind them, or we're going to be looking in the portal. Same thing. I wonder how much kicker runs, like you said. Not that I'm wishing any ill will on our kicker, but we have had some missed kicks. I do wonder what that would look like.
Makeable ones at that.
Yeah. Penalties, like I said earlier in the show, we did a lot better this week. We only had 6 for 55. Obviously, you'd like it to be even lower than that, but we've been closer to 10 every week until this game, so I'll take a few less at this point for sure. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts? I guess we don't want to just talk negative about the offense the whole time, but do you have any optimism for this offense about to fly to the island and try to put up some points against a pretty darn good Hawaii team?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure bowl game contentions is out of the picture at this point, so you really have nothing to lose. I think from a coaching standpoint, it's like, "Hey, let's empty out the playbook, let's do whatever works." Try to get younger guys in there if possible as well. And yeah, I think that going into the next week, I think it's more about setting a tone for next year because that's really important. If we look at the 2015 season, we went 2-10 and we won that last game. I think it was against Hawaii, right? Right.
I
So
believe so.
so
Yeah.
we'll have
I
to
don't
go
think you're
back and look at
mistaken.
that. But in 2015, that was the last game of the season, and that was the second win in the 2-10 season, building momentum for the next season where we actually go into the Mountain West Conference Championship against San Diego State. So I think the biggest thing is now how do we set a tone and make progress as a program, as a unit, and setting the tone going into next year, next season. I think that's going to be the biggest aim, and obviously, guys wanna finish out on a strong note. So, I can't speak to the mindset now when it comes to transfer portal because that just wasn't the era I played in. It changed right after I was done, literally a season after. So, it's like some guys look at it as, "Hey, I need to get tape." Other guys are like, "Hey, how do I get better for this school, this season?" You just don't know. It's a lot in the air, but, um I think it's gonna be really important for whatever the reason is to finish up on a high note.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jamari, tell me a little bit about this. And I've always been interested in this as a from a fan perspective. Getting to the island, they ship all your guys' stuff? Is it going on? Obviously, it's going on planes, but who do they take the whole team? What does that trip look like?
Yeah, so I took the trip in 2018. What they'll do is because, they have to ship a lot of stuff there and it takes time, they'll send our stuff there in advance, like a day or 2 in advance. So they'll send our equipment, shoulder pads, helmets. They'll send a bunch of the other additional equipment and support equipment that we need for the sideline, and they'll usually do it Cheyenne. Most times we'll fly out of Laramie to and from games, but they'll do that out of Cheyenne, and we'll still have our same travel roster, but it's a longer trip. So we'll fly to Los Angeles or LAX and fuel up there, and then from there we'll go to Hawaii. So it's definitely a little different as far as like your routine and schedule. You might go out a couple days earlier because you got to adjust to the time shift, get acclimated. So they're probably gonna go out like a lot earlier and have some practices out there, and just give themselves some time to adjust to everything. It's a hassle getting there, and it's a lot of travel. Definitely don't want a middle seat, especially as a bigger guy. So,
I was gonna say, but in college football, though, man, do you guys really have any little guys?
I
I
mean,
always thought that with your guys' planes. I'm like, you guys are all big.
yeah. I think it more so if you're like a lineman. What was funny was that on the way there, I definitely had a middle seat, and on the way back, if I remember this correctly, it was 3 of us. It was me, Javari Jackson, and Prince Washington, and we basically Prince is a DB. I'm like mid-size, right? So linebacker, tight end, and then Javari is this big, massive D tackle, and we
Boy.
forced him in the middle because he was a young bull at the time, so I feel so bad now thinking about it. Shout out to Jabari. He forced him in the middle seat. Couldn't do the middle seat on the way
Yeah,
back.
the freshmen, though. The freshmen. Yeah, don't pick on them too much, but for sure, you gotta do a little stuff like that, so that's fine. Yeah, I guess the DBs, because like, DBs are, like, my size, and you don't love the middle seat, but compared to 2 D linemen, you definitely wanna probably put the corner in the middle for sure, so
Yeah, but Prince wasn't going for that.
Dude, I don't know if you saw this or not. Well, really quick, I guess before I get myself here, anything else you want to tell us about this Josh Allen retirement ceremony, man? It was awesome to watch on TV, but anything else you want to touch on that?
But yeah, quite a bit actually. So we came in. Some of the guys came in the night before, and that's when Josh came in. He so talked to the team. Bunch of guys went out to dinner after that, and some of the guys went out. But my crew, we came in the day of, so in the morning. And the first thing I thought about was, man, it would suck if I'm just this diehard Wyoming fan. I'm a student and I'm working really hard, and I have to work a shift somewhere during the game, right? And then
Mhm.
we pull up to Prairie Rose for breakfast. We got there kinda early, so we said, "Let's get some breakfast." Prairie Rose has a sign that says, "We're closed at noon. Go Pokes."
Close for the game. Go Bucks.
And so, and I think there were some other things just talking to the people who actually worked there that went into them not being open, but that hit me right away. I mean, I've never seen something like that during game day, so I'm like, okay, of course. And everywhere you went in town, people either had a Bills jersey, a Wyoming Josh jersey. Some people had a mix of either. It was just really cool to see that many people up for this game and up for this ceremony. So that was cool seeing. And then the process of getting in and seeing former teammates was awesome because the thing is I played from 2016 until 2020. Well, the first 2 years that I experienced were the last 2 years for Josh, and so
Mhm.
what was really cool for me to see was just all of my teammates from all of these different phases of my career in Wyoming, from the guys that were older who were on their way out as I was just getting there. Then you have the guys who started with me that were there. You have some of the younger guys that just wanted to be there and experience it with everybody, or maybe they had some type of connection with Josh as well. The current players had Isaac Sell, one of the players, one of the seniors, also with Andrew Johnson. Seeing those guys, it was a crazy experience. Seeing the coaches again, catching up with them, I mean, it was insane just seeing everybody. It was a lot to take in. Seeing again former students, so that was really cool. And so they had Josh and his family up in the Hap C up top in the recruitment lounge. And so they hung out there for most of the time. And then during the pregame warm up, he comes out and it's just people are going insane. It's like I've never seen nothing like it. I know people talk about big celebrities when they're walking into a room, or you hear stories about how people kill me for this comparison, but if you listen to stories about how people reacted when Michael Jackson was around and just how everything was just, it felt like that. I promise you, it felt like that comparison.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, just being able to see that, experience that, see all of our teammates was amazing. And seeing where people are in their life now, right? A lot of people have kids, married, more kids on the way. It was a beautiful thing just catching up with people, and then obviously getting a chance to catch up with Josh personally. I mean, he's the same guy that he was back then, but I think the biggest difference is that he's just really happy.
Yeah.
No matter what's happening in his NFL season, he is just extremely grateful, and he just has a lot of gratitude for everything. And I asked him how did all of it feel, and he was just like, "Man, like it's hard to describe. It's amazing." And he just talked about how blessed he was, really grateful with his new marriage. So I mean, he just was putting everything in perspective, and it was really good just talking to him about what all of it meant and just how it felt to him. And it's a couple of things that we talked about. I won't say here, but it just he was it was just good to I mean, he's just a normal dude, right? And I think that's something that is good to see because when you get to a level that he's on, there's a lot of pressures and things that can push you in a direction of change. And he's just the down to earth dude. He's one of the boys. So he's always one of the boys. And so it was just awesome seeing him. And it just felt like a one big reunion. You said it earlier. It's like a big homecoming game. And so the ceremony was outstanding. It was amazing. I mean, it was a very emotional moment for his family, for us. And so I mean, it was just I mean, I couldn't put it into words. It's just how crazy it was, and just I felt very grateful just being a part of it, and as far as just being there and just being a part of this brotherhood, that's really what it is a brotherhood. And so, man, it was a crazy moment, and I mean, it was a couple of my former students in the stands. Like I was talking to Josh for a little bit, and walking around, and he's signing autographs, and I'm just chatting up with people. And a couple of my students recognized me, and they're, hey, Mr. Moore, hey, call Josh, grab him, grab him. They're like begging me to bring him into the stands. And a couple of times he actually did go over there, but um, it was pretty crazy. And the national coverage, it was insane as well. Just everybody recognizing him, the first football player ever to get a jersey retired.
Mhm.
And I
One
think
of
one
only
of three
3.
just total, right?
Yep. Only
So
3.
yeah. So, yeah, I can't talk enough about how crazy it was. I'm still processing it, and just yeah, it was amazing. So I'm happy I was able to do it. And I think the energy that brought a lot of energy to the game. Promise you, it brought a lot of energy to the game. And so it
You
was
could
very
feel it.
unfortunate that it ended the way it did because I mean, you could imagine as some of those young players on the field that's just like a lot of them probably look up to Josh, and a big part of why they came there to be a part of that. And so I know they played real. They played hard.
Yeah.
It didn't turn out how we wanted, but they played hard, and I know they also wanted to play hard for him and just what that moment meant.
Yeah. You couldn't ask for a cooler senior day either. So shout out all of those guys. Regardless of the outcome, that would have been the most electric senior day ever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it was amazing, man. So Even though we didn't get the outcome that we wanted, I think that game symbolized so much more than just the game, and so, um, yeah, I mean, I can't describe it, and then something that was really cool, I got a chance to talk to Coach Bowl, Craig Bowl, um, got a chance to really catch up with him, and so I thought that was something that was also really, really nice because he seems like he's doing really well, and he just I haven't seen him, being a player for him, like, I've seen him in good moods and be happy, when things are going well, and, he can be really tough when things aren't, but, like, he just I mean, all smiles, like, just he was so happy and just talking to him, and he was pretty emotional, you know? He
Yeah,
has a really soft deep down, he has a real, like he real soft side, so it was good catching up with Coach Ball too and just hearing how things are going with him, so it was just an awesome moment, man, and I'm happy for him, so congratulations to you, Josh, your family, and yeah, the boys. The gang, man, it was, we were rolling deep, so that's kinda what I got for the retirement. It was
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, like I said, I wish out of all the ones I wish we could have made it back for, that one's definitely up there for
that was the
sure.
one.
But you know what? I always tell people out here that like I work for University of Wyoming Athletics, and they're always like, "Oh, did you know Josh?" And I was like, "I've had a couple conversations with Josh, and then he's such a genuine dude." And I think, like you said, he that shines through. He's just a happy guy, so you couldn't ask for it to happen to anybody different. So
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So while so football, as far as the game, it was a dud. The ceremony was awesome, but I want to talk a little bit about some of the other sports, right? And some of the other things that's happening in Wyoming sports. Talk to us about some of the things that's going on out there in Wyoming sports, Zane.
So swimming, I don't know the specifics, fans, and you can get mad at me if you would like, that's fine. But they broke 9 school records at the Mizzou invite this last weekend. So
Yeah,
shout out to them because
jeez.
to break any records is phenomenal, but to break nine
Nine
is
and
is
one invite
insane.
is insane.
Yeah, and so that's like a program defining weekend. Like that's amazing. So shout out to those guys. Wrestling, we beat Cal Baptist 28-12 for our Big 12 opener, which is fantastic to see. Again, Dan Morris told us, guys, wrestling's going to be good. If you are a wrestling fan, make sure you're watching these Cowboys. And then Cowboy Basketball, they played today in the Dome of Doom against Norfolk. Wyoming won 75-67. Yeah, fans, we really want to start climbing up those the attendance a little bit there. I did get to watch them play against Sam Houston, and it was kind of the same things we talked about. Again, they dropped their first game against Sam Houston, but we're just struggling from the free throw line. It's just things that'll get coached up. I think this is going to be a really good Wyoming basketball team, though. But I checked off a lot right there, man. Any comments on those guys?
As far as basketball, I think as the season progresses and they get deeper into it, we start winning some of these bigger games. I think the attendance will continue will slowly start to grow. Um, and I think this season is going to be really important in setting the expectation of us being really competitive. And so I think this season is just going to be really important in just getting gaining awareness, right? The fan gaining awareness of what's really going on, right? And I think what you're starting to see in some of these other sports in Wyoming is that they're trending upward. Like when you're looking at what's happening, there's a lot of movement that's happening and we're trending in the right direction. And so it's just really exciting and encouraging to see. I didn't get a chance to watch the Sam Houston game, uh, but just from some of the stats here, right? Leyland Walker, 24 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. That's a good stat line. Wyoming, shot 21.7% from three. It's not terrible. 40.9, excuse me, yeah, 40.9 from the free throw line. That one is I'm looking at that stat. I'm like, am I reading this right? Is this the right stat?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that like, am I reading this correctly? 40.9% from free throw
So
line.
less
That's
than half of your free throws are going down. So those
that's
are
yeah.
those are free points you're giving up. But luckily, like we said in last week's show, that's out of all the things you could coach up. free throws are one of the things you can really coach up and look to see that improve.
Yeah, and that comes with a lot of focus as well. A lot of repetition, focus. I mean, you're not gonna win a lot of games, a lot of close games when you're shooting that poorly from the stripe. Whereas
No, they're gonna.
Sam Houston, they shot what 87.9% from the stripe. So
Mhm.
you see the juxtaposition and the outcomes. Yeah, I don't know. Shooting struggles being a theme and the main problem. I think that's something that throughout the season you just hope to see get better. And
Mhm.
hopefully they get a flow. I'm not gonna sit here to claim to be an expert on the X's and O's on basketball specifically, but I do know that that's something that I think once you get into the season, you'll get a better rhythm and you'll be able to perform a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. But with that being said, right, we have something very special for you guys this week as well. In this next segment, excuse me, we are going to be bringing one of our friends of the show. His name is Kade McMillan. He's going to talk to us a little bit specifically about Wyoming Cowgirls Volleyball. Good friend of, he's amazing, nicest guy you'll ever meet. Lovely beard, as you all see. Um, he's he's awesome, man. So we're gonna get into that in just a second here, and we'll see you guys on the other side of that, and we'll get into just a little bit of next week with Wyoming and Hawaii. All righty, round of applause for Cade here. Cade, how you feeling, man?
After this weekend, feeling definitely a lot better on the volleyball side, 100%.
100%, 100%. That's awesome, man. We wanted to get Cade up here. For those of you who are wondering, volleyball, women's volleyball has had a really electrifying win this past weekend. Tell us a little bit about yourself first and your ties to and the women's volleyball team.
Yeah, no problem. So I was fortunate enough to be able to be one of the student managers on the women's volleyball team back from 2019. Unfortunately, experienced part of the shutdown season during COVID, but was on the team from 2019 to 2021.
Nice,
That's
nice,
awesome.
nice.
Cade, can you tell us a little bit about, obviously you were saying you're feeling 100% better about the Cowgirls season. Obviously, fans, if you don't know, this was an amazing game. It was also their senior night immediately after the Nevada football game. Can you tell us a little bit about this game against Grand Canyon? What went down? What did fans miss if they didn't make their way over there?
Well, to say it pretty plainly, their second 5-set win in 3 days, basically, which in volleyball, you play the best 3 out of 5. Whoever wins the first 3 out of those 5 sets wins the match. And if you have to play more than one of those in a weekend, it gets really tough. This game, honestly, and I've been watching UW volleyball games for, gosh, 8 years now, and I can confidently say that this was the best women's volleyball game I have ever seen Wyoming play. We were on nerves the entire time, just complete. Every single person was into the game the entire time. And I mean, granted, there's no way that you couldn't be. So in the 5-set, we came in, we won the first set. Gosh, I think the score was 22-25. So it was a close first set. Second set, Grand Canyon came back. They kind of dominated the entire second set. I think we ended 19-25. Wyoming came back, won the third set, and I think they dominated that third set. Like, they, at one point, I want to say it was a 8-2 run to start
Oh,
out.
wow.
So it was, yeah. So, we won won the third set. We're pretty confident coming into the fourth set. Grand Canyon came back, of course. And then the fifth set, it's already really intense in a fifth set because you just have no clue how it's going to go. You want to always think that you have the momentum coming in, but truthfully, it's almost impossible to tell who's going to win. And just feeling the intensity, at first we were up, and then Grand Canyon came back, and it's volleyball is such a game of momentum, and the fans really get into it when you have that momentum. But when you don't, it's easy to fall off. But this game, like, I don't even know, like, they found some extra power, which kudos to them. I've been saying it kind of the second half of the year that this Wyoming team may be one of the best teams that we've seen in the past 10 years. Like, they found something that I've really never seen Wyoming volleyball do. They almost like use the energy in that fifth set to slowly come back. Slowly, they inched themselves out of a 6-point deficit, or it was 6 or 5 point deficit to come back and win in the fifth set.
Wow.
Like, I just wish that every person could experience the game yesterday, because honestly could safely say that Wyoming would become a volleyball state if that was the case.
Volleyball
Oh,
state.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have only felt that energy a couple of times at Wyoming. Like, it truly is something, like, that game specifically was truly something different.
Man,
I was gonna say we've had some darn good volleyball teams too. So to get that praise, especially from somebody like guys, the kid's really he's with the programs. He knows obviously been around them at the management level. So when you have that level of praise, and we've had good teams, that's phenomenal.
yeah, that's amazing, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, somebody has gone to a lot of those games as well. Look, when you said the last 10 years, one of the best, I've been to a lot of those games and I
Right.
felt some of those electrifying games, those close ones. So, um, my question for you is what specifically do you like about this team in general, right? You said one of the best in maybe the last 10 years. So, what is some things that specifically you could point out to us and the fans that stands out to you?
Yeah. I would honestly, the two things that come to mind is one, coach that we have now, well, the coach we have at this moment, and how balanced this team is. Like, I don't remember a time where a Wyoming team could sub literally anyone in and it doesn't affect the game whatsoever. Like, Wyoming, specifically in this game last night, they had to make a few key subs in the middle of the game. Like, it didn't make one difference on the trajectory of how the game was going to go. Like, they had to put Rye Fingerlin in the fourth set to play back row, and then they had to put Jillian Gregory in as one of the outside hitters in the fifth set. Coming in the fifth set, like, when you haven't played the entire game, that in itself is one of the most difficult things to do in a volleyball match. So the fact that, like, those two came in completely, like, set the tone, stayed calm and composed. Like, you don't normally see that with a lot of volleyball teams, but that's been the case this entire year. Like, they have had to try a lot of things. I mean, last year they lost some really key players that I think at the first part of the year, they were kind of questioning what it was going to look like and what the team was going to feel like. And, the whole, really, the coaching staff and the team in general has created a culture that makes the girls at Wyoming right now want to be part of something more. They want to do something special. They want to compete at the highest level, and they've all really, like, grasped that culture that they're trying to create. That you can really feel that, and I give kudos to Kaylee Prigge, head coach, taking over the head coaching realm back in 2023. She has really um, helped to lead that charge in creating that culture, and just the entire coaching staff too. They've really wanted to do something different for the girls, wanted them to be able to embrace what it means to be a Wyoming Cowgirl on the court, and it's really, really showing.
No, I think that's awesome, man. I think, obviously, like Jamari said, he's been around a lot of volleyball. I worked a lot of volleyball games back when I was working for facilities. Like, we've seen good teams, and you can notice a difference, especially when you have a young team and now you do have a surprising amount of depth. I think that's fantastic. One thing I want to ask you, obviously, all the rage right now, college realignment across all sports. For the fans, what do you think the new look Mountain West is going to look like? Because personally, the hope is that Wyoming can run the new look Mountain West, right? And I think when you show the amount of talent and depth that we have right now, especially in a sport like volleyball, I don't see any reason why we can't be the top contenders in the new look Mountain.
I 100% agree on that. I was actually thinking about that last night after the game. Like, with realignment, if you look at the teams that are leaving, like, that puts us in Grand Canyon at the top. If you're looking at this year's standings, and then you combine that with the girls that we still have on the team. Yeah, we're going to be losing some big players from this team next year, but we have the depth to continue the run that we're on. Obviously, you have the transfer portal, which I think right now the culture that we have is going to really help, because last year they only lost one girl to the transfer portal, and I think that was the lowest that we had seen probably in 8-9 years. So we do have a consistent chance to set the tone for the Mountain West in volleyball, and it'll be interesting to see what it looks like next year. With Hawaii coming in, and honestly, I don't even fully know what the whole picture looks like for volleyball, just because football is a little different on what the realignment looks like. But, regardless, I think we have a strong possibility, if not this year, even with next year with the realignment, to be Mountain West champions. So it'll be really fun to see what it looks like in the coming years.
Awesome, man. You're bringing up a lot of good points with not knowing what it's going to look like next year with the transfer portal, but that's a call out that I think needs to be celebrated, that we only lost one. That speaks to culture, like you're saying, great coaching, recruiting, and how the athletes are treated. That matters. And I think that good coaching, good culture is something that is worth a lot more than people would give it credit for. So I definitely think that's a great call out, and I think about this year when you're looking at the depth that we have that you brought out, when you are talking to fans about Cowgirls volleyball, what would you say to fans on why they should tune into the Cowgirls volleyball this week or this next week in the Mountain West Conference tournament?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because it's almost like an endless list. And I'm a little biased too, because I've been in volleyball for the past 10 to 12 years. But the sport of volleyball in itself is so unique that, like, you're always engaged. Like, there's always something going on. And this team in itself is just so much fun to watch. Like, you can see on the court, from the moment that the first serve happens to the end of the game, they're in it. You can see the emotion, you can see the excitement, you can see how hard they're working. And it's just so easy to get locked in the game. And with Wyoming this year, this is the first Mountain West championship tournament that we've been able to be a part of since they brought it back in 2021. So it's the fact that we have like a legitimate shot to be able to bring home a Mountain West championship that people, they just need to tune in and see. And volleyball's on such an increase right now that if you don't get on now, you're kind of going to miss the boat. So it's better to hop in now and watch a team that has a chance to compete for the championship while it's still coming up. So.
Absolutely. Volleyball's a blast, man. I wish more people would get over there and watch them. Obviously, all three of us can talk from experience. We've been to a lot of games. It's a lot of good energy. I love seeing a good come from behind win. Don't love it maybe being down 5 points in the fifth set and then coming back for the win. That's a bit of a cardiac moment. But
Yeah.
Jamari, you got any other volleyball related questions for Kate?
Who's your GOAT Cowgirls volleyball player? Or if you had to go maybe top three.
Right. So, well, I know my number one of all time is Reed Copeland. Like, she was an absolute beast. Yep. When she was there, she was an absolute beast on the court. And she's also, I'm a little biased too, but she's my best friend as well. So we've been able to have a relationship, 7 years in the making, which is cool. But like, she's the all-time blocks leader, single season blocks leader at Wyoming. She was number one in the Mountain West for blocks her senior year. She did go pro for a little while, which was really cool for Wyoming. So she's definitely my number one. Trying to think, we've had a lot of really good players in the past.
Reed's a great number one, by the way.
Yeah.
Somebody who's also watched Reed played a lot. She is definitely one of the
remember Reed as well. She's so good.
Yeah, she was fun to watch. And one that sticks out to me still is Kayla Henderson. And that was back in like the 2015 era, which that was probably the best team that Wyoming's had up until this point. So Kayla was a beast on the court.
Shout out to Kayla. I think she was at the Wyoming game. Yeah,
Oh, she
shout out
was?
to Kayla. Yeah, I believe she's at the Wyoming game. Yes. Yeah, shout out to her.
No, that's crazy. That's awesome. Probably have to say, honestly, as my third, probably had to be Casey. Casey, sophomore year.
Mm,
Because they had her moved our junior and senior year, or my senior year, her junior year. She had been moved to the opposite hitter.
yeah.
But I remember our sophomore year, we were playing in the second round in the NIVC, and Casey had, I want to say it was either 35 or 39 kills that entire game, which that doesn't happen often for a team. So, but it was always so much fun to watch her play as well. And I remember coming down my freshman year, one of my friends and I drove to CSU to watch play in the Border War, and Casey wasn't playing a whole lot our freshman year, but she had like 5 or 6 aces in a row. So that was always like one of the moments that I was like, oh, okay, she is pretty good. So that would probably have to be my top 3. So
It's awesome. That's awesome. I love
Shout out
that.
to Casey, by the way. Casey, she's a great person as well. One of the hardest workers I've ever met. I had the pleasure of getting to know her pretty well when I was on my way out. Casey, she's held me down when a lot of my peers graduated. She was one that was there and held me down during, even like I think about just the coming out of COVID and everything. She's a outstanding person. So
yeah,
one of my goats as well, for sure.
definitely. Well, and Zane, Casey is actually the reason why I was able to meet Jacory and get to know him really well in college too. So she really is the GOAT on both sides.
Yeah,
That's
great
awesome.
person.
I love
Great
that.
person.
I was gonna say, I recognize, like, I can put faces to all of these names. I was just the facilities guy at volleyball that was like, "Hey, can I go put the balls away? Are you guys done with them or no?" Or
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I was like, definitely adjacent, but never got to know him like you guys did. So that's awesome to hear. Cade, one last question for you. What is the best and what is the worst Thanksgiving side before we get you out of here?
I honestly, best and worst, the best side that can also be the worst side is stuffing. Because
Okay.
if you mess it up, like no one's
If
touching
it's
that.
soggy,
Yeah. But also if it's like really, really dry, you're only getting one bite down. Like it has the possibility to be the best. But if it's not, you won't catch me eating any of it.
I
That's
can
insane.
respect that.
That's
I can
insane.
respect that.
I'm sorry. That's insane. I don't know what type of stuffing y'all are eating, but that's
You don't
insane.
you don't love you love it or you hate it, Jamari?
No, I
What
love stuffing. That's
Oh, I was
so
gonna
that's
say,
why.
which end are you coming from
Oh,
here,
I
buddy?
love
Okay.
stuffing. I love stuffing.
You
It
can
hurts
do it
so
right, but
okay.
you can mess it up.
Yeah.
Like Kate said, you can mess it up for
For
sure.
sure, for sure, for sure.
And I've had some grandparents. Well, I've had some grandparents that didn't do it well. So
That happens. That happens. Well, man, dude, this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I feel like you gave the fans a lot of perspective, gave at least refreshed Jamari's mind for a lot of these girls, taught me a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time around volleyball, but still definitely getting down all the statistics and analytics behind it. So this was awesome and educational. But thanks so much for coming on, man. This was great.
yeah, of course. No, it's always a pleasure. You know, anytime you guys want to talk about volleyball, I'll gladly jump in.
I love that.
You know, I'm excited to see where volleyball goes in Wyoming. If anyone, I am going to send a plug too. If anyone that has the ability to get more games in the AA, if anyone's listening, the fans want more AA games. So let's get more fans.
Hey,
I think
you
that's a
guys have
great
heard it
plug.
here first. You guys have heard it here first. So thank you again, Kay. We really appreciate you coming through and sitting down with us, man. Much love, man. We really appreciate you, and we hope you have a good week.
Yeah, you guys as well. This has been fun. Always love reconnecting with you guys.
Man, all right. So that was Cade. It was fun talking to him. It was good seeing him again. He looked great, like a skin, beard.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Cade. He's a great dude. I got to know him during college as well, just like Jamari. He was actually in my business fraternity with him. I worked with him a little bit in athletics, or we were athletics adjacent. But like Jamari said, you can't talk to a nicer guy for sure. Just a phenomenal human being. So 1000%.
And I appreciate his GOAT list for Wyoming Cowgirls, right? With Reed Copeland, Kayla Henderson, and Casey McMahon. They're great. They're awesome. I thought I seen Kayla at the game, but I'm not sure if she was there 100%. I thought she was, but looking back and thinking about it, I'm like, maybe it wasn't. But yeah, no. Shout out to those three. Watching them play was awesome. Especially getting to know Reed and Casey. They're just Mason, sweet people. Um, and I said this, I think for sure I said it to Casey at some point years ago that she and a couple others would be people I would want on a kickoff unit with me. Because when they
There you
play,
go.
they are dialed in. So there are definitely some people like if I needed some people to line up with from a different sport on kickoff, they would be on the list. So he definitely knows
That's a good
ball
one.
for sure. But as we're moving along, Zane, talk a little bit to us about just your initial thoughts with what's to come with Hawaii, right? Our game against Hawaii that's coming up this week on the island.
Yeah, so on the island, Hawaii is 7-4. They're 4-3 in the Mountain West. As I mentioned before, right now Wyoming's offense is scoring offense is struggling. We're dead last in the Mountain West. Hawaii is fifth. Now, with that being said, Wyoming did crawl back up to number 2 scoring defense. So again, defense is a highlight for our program. As far as offenses go, Hawaii has the last ranked offense for rushing. Wyoming has the ninth, but the reason I highlight that Wyoming has a really, or excuse me, that means Hawaii has a really strong passing offense, and that just so happens to be Wyoming's defensive strength. We have, in my opinion, two of the best corners in the Mountain West this year, and we got really lucky with them in the transfer portal. And those guys are expensive. I was reading an article by ESPN on how much a cornerback costs in the transfer portal open market. Those guys are worth about $750,000 at a top program, and so you've either got to shell out the cash for them or get lucky on a couple guys. And I think we did really well with our secondary in that passing games. No, from the perspective of Hawaii, it's going to be a really good passing offense versus a really good passing defense. Honestly, it's going to come down to who can, in my opinion, be able to run the ball. Is that kind of what you're seeing, Jamari? Would you say that's fairly accurate?
Yeah, I mean, running the ball is pretty standard and a standard approach for opening up the rest of your offense, right? What I see happening is when I say they, I mean Hawaii, will be sure that they cover the run, whether they pack people in the box, and they sell out for the run, and they're going to say, Kate Anderson, we dare you to throw a football. We dare you to throw a football and complete a pass and convert, score a touchdown. And so I
Especially with no Toad Harris.
yeah. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to force us into a passing situation and we have to be able to convert. We have to be able to convert. And then the more we're able to have success in the pass game, they're going to have to respect it more. And when they respect the pass game from a playbook standpoint, the offensive coordinator now has a lot more options to work with. But if we can't run the ball and we're not converting on pass either, I mean, we need points, right? And so I think that we need to be able to just anticipate this, right? And I think what I'm going to be interested to see is some of the play calling, if they get really creative in how they do it, or if they just, run and gun. I don't know the approach. What you will notice, right? And I was talking to somebody at the game about this, was in 2 minutes before the half, they were moving the ball. And so I was interested. I was telling some people like, hey, why don't we go up tempo? And if you remember earlier in the season, I forget what game it was. It was either the first game or the second game.
We
But
did
we
it a
came
couple
out
times with Jay Johnson. Yeah.
with up tempo.
Mhm.
We had success moving the ball. Now, converting in the red zone is going to be important too, but at least we give we can walk away with some points with a field goal. So I think that that's going to be something that's really important to think about and something that I look at when I think about this game. It's like they're going to force us into a passing situation and they're going to say, Caden Anderson, I dare you to throw a football. And I think we can do it, right? But for me, what I saw in person, I think the decisiveness needs to get a little better. If the first read isn't there, go to second read isn't there, run the ball, right? I think that he has speed, right? I think he'll be able to convert. So I just think he needs to make those decisions a little faster. And I don't know what he's seeing or what he's coached to look at. So there's a lot more into it, right? So I don't want to just say he's unable to make reads and make these decisions because I don't know how specifically he's being coached.
Mhm.
With that being said, I don't know if there's a discrepancy, there's a miscommunication on those things, or, we all can see that things are open and things are there. Guys are getting their looks. It's just the decision making. So hopefully he's able to just play free and play loose because again, some of y'all Wyoming fans, man, when a guy can't throw a football or can't complete a pass or whatever, you guys are pretty tough on guys.
Yeah, they definitely throw some choice words out there for sure. No, and I think it circles back to what you said earlier. What do you have to lose? We're not going to make a bowl game, and from Caden Anderson's perspective, you know what I mean? People aren't impressed. He has a quote earlier in the season where he said, "If you give me 3 seconds, I'm going to carve a defense up." Go prove it, man. Go have fun with this last game and go try to do what you say you can do and what we've seen you do in little instances, right? Because at the end of the season, if you lose this game against Hawaii, I was going to ask you this, Jamari, how hot or cold would you say Jay Sawvel's seat and Caden Anderson's seats are
I
if you
mean,
lose this game against Hawaii?
man, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, if I judge it just off the sample size I got from being at the game, I mean, people were not happy. They were saying some pretty. They had some choice words for the head coach, and I think that's a part of the gig. I think they understand that you win a game, things go well, you're the best thing since sliced bread. Things don't go well, they want your head on a stick. So it's a week to week type of deal. Sometimes we don't have that nuance, but to be fair to the fans, we've been seeing a lot of the same thing with the lack of production. And I think I wouldn't say it's hot, but I wouldn't say it's cold either, right? So I'd say maybe warm and leaning towards the hot, right? So, but I don't think it is necessarily hot right now.
I'd agree with that.
I
I'd
think
say
that would give
warm
him at
for
least one
both.
more season before we can say it's hot, you know.
I would say, especially for Jay, it's just warm, right? Because the other thing that fans need to realize, yes, Wyoming it's got a good fan base and stuff like that, but we're not LSU. We don't have $48 million to cut a coach. You know what I mean? We've got to be smart with our money and stuff like that. So you really don't want to fire a coach unless you have to. And I don't know if we're at a have to situation. We're not in a comfortable situation, but I don't think we're in a have situation. Let's see here. I talked about this a little bit ago. Samuel Tote Harris, he's out, unfortunately. I don't know if he's going to be back for the Hawaii game, but we didn't have Teron Kelman or Samuel Tote Harris for a bulk of the game, so Sam Scott got a lot of touches. I thought he did well with them. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of talked about this a little bit, Jamari, but what do you think the team's mindset does need to be when they get on this plane to go to the island and you know that you can't make a bowl game and you're coming off a disappointing loss? What would you tell them as the coach and just say, hey, this is what we need to focus on?
I think that if I'm the coach or a part of the coaching staff, I think this becomes much deeper than, "Hey, let's finish off the season strong." What I'd like to tell players, and even sometimes my students, is that when you turn something in or you give somebody a body of work and your name is on it, there's a sense of pride that you need to take when you are turning something in or you are putting something out there for people to see. And so I would then just speak to them as a core, like, hey, you as a football player, you as a man, you as somebody that cares about this game, that loves this game, how do you want this season to end? For somebody that cares about your teammates, someone that cares about the legacy of your family, right? Because that was a big coaching point that he had when they start putting names on a jersey is that, hey, you're not just playing for the school, you're playing for the legacy of your family. And I would
Mhm.
talk to them, hey, it says a lot more about your character, how you show up for this game. And it says a lot about who you are as a man. And when it comes to words like integrity, because for some people it's easy to check out, right? It is very easy for people to get checked out. It's not talked about as much, but it definitely happened. Guys aren't getting playing time. If guys feel like, hey, the coaches just are doing gonna do their own thing, and so why should I care? Leads to people being underprepared. It happens. It happens a lot more than what people think. But you can also see it on the field sometimes. And I'm not here to say, at least from when I was watching, I didn't get the feel that guys weren't playing hard. So that's not the case. But what I will say going into that last game is that, when you think about the integrity you have for the game, this it says a lot more about you as a player when, yeah, there's no large incentive other than, hey, I want to win. So, or even, hey, I hate losing, right? And the competitiveness of the team. So, I think the culture will be tested quite a bit. And I think that they need to think bigger picture as far as the culture of the team and think deeper as their integrity as men and as football players and just their performance and how they show up for their teammates. So that would be some of the message that I would give to those players if I was a coach is like, why do you play this game? Why are you here? What's the point in all of this? If and everybody's goals aren't the same, but people play for something. And so I would encourage those guys to remember what they play for and, that be the driving force of how you finish the game and finish the season.
No, I agree. I think that's extremely valid, and I think my message wouldn't be any different. I think mine would be the same one that I've been saying, "Go have fun." You know what I mean? I can't imagine the pressure these guys are putting on themselves, and obviously they're getting from the fans and the fan base. This last game, you're gonna be in a beautiful place. It's gonna be warm, I hope, or at least warmer than Laramie. Just go have fun, man. Go remember why you're playing this game and be proud of what you do in that last one, especially for those seniors and everything like that. But no, man, I mean, based on the numbers, I think we can be in this game, right? I think we are really good at defending what Hawaii can do.
Mhm.
We just got to put it together. And I think if we can do that, we can be in this game for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I agree. We'll see what happens, man. But before we get to our couch question, is anything just happening around the sports world in general?
Two things. One of my point guard goats, even though he's never won a ring.
Oh
Chris
man.
Paul is retiring.
Yeah.
Love Chris Paul, even though he's like never been affiliated with Denver. I always loved him, like Blake
Mhm.
Griffin and
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan and him when they were all in LA. That
Lob
was one
City.
of the coolest, yeah, one of the coolest trios there ever was. And then what do you think about Brandon Ayuk? He held out for that $120 million contract, and now he's basically going to get it voided because he's
Yeah.
refusing to do anything with the team.
Oh man, yeah, not a good look. So with Chris Paul specifically touching on that first, I'm happy that he gets to announce his retirement before the season concludes. So then it's more of like a D Wade type of situation where he's able to have his farewell tour, if you will. And there's like this like weird category of guys that had amazing careers but never won the championship, and there's always these debates on could you have a great career and be a Hall of Famer but never win? And my answer to that question is yes. Like I think that you can have an amazing career, be an outstanding player, and have an impact on the game, the culture, the players, just not win a championship, right? I think about it in like football, for instance. Devin Hester, again, Bears fan, so I was a little biased there. But Devin Hester, I mean, just when you think about kickoff returns, punt returns, right? It's not a conversation related to special teams that doesn't bring his name up, right? And he's not on top of these lists. And so I think with Chris Paul, I think his impact in the game and just how he played it and what he meant to players, I think will be important. And so that's kind of what I think on that. And then
I
Brandon
think of two
Ayuk,
guys. Sorry to cut you off. I think of two guys. Carmelo,
yeah,
he's got to be a Hall of Famer. And so I think if you say, at least in my opinion, same as Chris Paul, and then Phillip Rivers, another guy, never
Yeah.
won a ring, but got to be a Hall of Famer. So I was just gonna add those guys on there. Those are kind of like the same level for me as Chris Paul for sure. But anyway, Brandon Aiyuk, sorry.
No, but Brandon Aiyuk and that contract being voided is what's funny. And I haven't fact checked this, so I just want to put that disclaimer out. But there was a video that came out. And again, I don't know the time, so I have to look at it. But I hope it's not true. And some people might debate me on it. But with this contract being voided, people were saying this video came out recently of Brandon Aiyuk spending all this money in a jewelry store, buying like these chains and stuff like that. And his video was going viral as people were like, okay, is this the smartest thing financially if this contract is voided? I don't know his personal situation or his financial endeavors, so I can't really make it. I mean, it's a small sample size that you see on the internet. Again, I don't know what time this was, but that's tough. But I think, you gotta, at some point, you gotta play ball. So I'm interested to see how this develops and what happens next. But yeah, at some point, you're gonna have to play ball, and if you're just what I appreciate guys getting the money they deserve, but I also I think there still should be some team-oriented players. Team-oriented players, I think, needs to get more credit. Josh, I think, is a great example, right? People know when he signed his contract and people ask him why he didn't ask for the max and ask for the absolute greatest number or more than what Dak Prescott got. And he's like, listen, I'm blessed. I got a nice house. I got everything I need. Like, a couple million is not it's not really about that. I want my team to win. I wish I saw more of that, to be honest. That's just kind of what it makes me think of is like, how much do you need? And again, I'm speaking from a different position in life, so who knows? But I just like, how much do you really need?
I think Josh said it best when he said, "What is $5 million more a year going to get me that I can't already?" And I think
Yeah,
you're
man.
right. When you look at Brandon Aiyuk, I'm split. Would you want him to go to Buffalo and help out Josh because he could sign this year, or do you worry about maybe any locker room chemistry issues at that point? Because obviously we're seeing Josh's team a little bit. They're struggling a little bit.
Yeah, they don't really necessarily have a true number one,
Mm-hmm.
at least in my opinion, and that's why I always have the argument for Josh being. I used to have these debates with people all the time about Josh being MVP last year, and obviously there's might be a little bias there, but he does a lot with not much. Um, he does a lot with whatever he has every single year, and most quarterbacks can't say that. It could work, but I think that you're saying it with Keon Coleman a little bit, where if you aren't bought into the culture, then it's just not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have to show some level of buy-in, and then I'm not really well versed on Buffalo's financial situation, right? So then it's like a matter of would you even be able to pay him? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't really know, man. It would have to be clear that he's bought in, I think, because they would want people to be a part of that culture.
Yep. All right, man. Well, let's do this couch question of the week really quick. I got to ask you, what's the best Thanksgiving side dish and what's the worst Thanksgiving side dish? And fans, we did ask Cade this, so you got a little glimpse of it earlier, but I want to see what Jamari's got to say about this.
Best, but for me, it's between sweet potatoes or mac and cheese. That's it's my go dishes. And the worst for me, the worst side dish I would say would have to be cranberry sauce, man. I just don't understand it. It might be acquired taste or something. Sorry for y'all who love it, but the cranberry sauce is just not for me. What about you, Zane?
I got to go with, and this one's controversial for some people. I love deviled eggs. I think that's
Oh,
my favorite.
forgot about
I
that
think
one.
that one's my favorite. And then the worst one for me, I've had good versions of it, so I don't want to talk too much smack on it, but like you can have some bad ones. It's got to be green bean casserole. It's got to
Green
be green
casserole.
bean casserole.
I was just like, I hope he doesn't say sweet potatoes or mac and cheese. I was like,
No, no,
no,
no.
but green bean casserole, yeah, I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one.
Yeah, if it's like too soggy, then yeah, I can get like that.
So then we also had a couch question from fans. We could get to one this week. I think it's two here. One was how was it playing with Josh Allen in college? I think I talked a little bit about it throughout a couple of podcasts, but it was pretty clear to everybody that he was special. That was number one. Number two is that he always was one of the hardest workers. We had, at least the time that I got there, we had a really tough strength and conditioning coach, which I've mentioned in previous episodes. His name was Russell Dennison. We called him Coach Denny. And there was a lot of people who didn't make it through his workouts or had to come back because they didn't make it, myself included. And he was never one of those guys. He always was a guy that made it through or dominated, whatever it is. And then the last thing is that he's just like, he's a confident player, but as a person, he has a lot of humility. He's very humble. And I think that that down to earth element mixed with his level of competitiveness just make him an awesome teammate. It just doesn't surprise me that people love him. And that's how it was when we were teammates. And again, I said this in a couple episodes ago. He's hilarious. He's very funny, great sense of humor. And he loves having a good time. He's special, but he's also a regular dude. I think when people, you know, are around him and they see that, they're like, wow, because you do have some people that might be as famous and as successful as him that aren't as down to earth, but he's regular dude, he's not around to I'm telling you, when you meet him and talk to him, you're like, oh wow, like really easy to talk to. So it was fun playing with him though. It was fun playing with him. I was on defense when I played with him, and actually I was on a scout team when he was there on defense. And so I actually practiced against him every single day that he was there. So I spent a lot of time with him for sure. So yeah, that's the answer to that couch question. There's another one here. I want to make sure we didn't miss this one. It says, if you're coming through the line with this on your plate, you're not invited back next year. Zane, what's your answer to that question?
Is this in reference to Thanksgiving?
I think with this question though, I think the real question should be, if you go to this Thanksgiving and this is like an option, like this is there, I'm not coming back the next year.
Oh, okay, doing that. I don't know, man. I think you'd have to do like, I don't know, if you put down like a tofu turkey or something like that, like I'm walking out. I'm not. I gotta actually have some meat.
Yeah,
I guess I'll do that.
because if you're somewhere and you put something on I'm not gonna judge somebody from
Yeah,
grabbing something that's already there, maybe a little bit in my head, but like it's there, right? I would more so was
yeah,
like, oh wow, like who made this?
yeah.
So I was talking to my
That's the only
students about
thing.
this. I was talking to my students about this not too long ago, sometime last week, and the student was like, "Hey, have you ever had chitlins, mister?" I'm like, yeah, but that's one, and I know some of my family is torn about that one, but that's a no for me. They smell
I was
so
gonna
bad.
say
They
that's a
smell
good
so
answer.
I'm definitely not coming back. I'm sorry. I love my family, but no.
Yeah, yeah. I'd do that, or like I said, maybe like yeah, that wouldn't be good. Maybe like if I would go to somebody's place and they have like tofu turkey or something like that, I'd be like, I'll see you guys later.
Well, hey, listen, I want to just give a quick shout out, and this is from Zane and both of us. Shout out to everybody that's been listening and just following us these past couple of weeks, and this whole season. Just I was telling Zane off mic how much support, how many people came up to me and said, "Hey, we enjoyed the show, love keeping up." So shout out to just everybody that's been really supportive, and keeping up. We've had a lot of fun doing it. Please continue to get the word out, spread it. There's a lot more people that probably doesn't know about us and enjoy it a lot. So if you know some people that would, share us. We're on all social media. Share our videos, like, subscribe, do all the things. And we look forward to being with you guys next week as we close the season out. And yeah, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. This has been really fun. And of course, as always, go Pokes.